Hey everybody, this is Bunny and Bumblebee Talks. I'm Bumblebee.
And I'm Bunny. And our first topic for today is what pets think about in a day.
Now, for those of you who don't know and are new, this is our talk show where we talk about everything.
Yeah, like random topics. Pretty much topics that people will think about talking about, but might not think about sharing it to the world. So,
Yeah, our points of view on certain subjects. It's fun. But let's get started.
so who wants to start, me or you?
Oh, you can start.
Me personally, I feel like a dog, their thought process might be more about like where did you go all day, and why'd you leave me here, acting like you left them for like years, when in all actuality you just left them for like a couple hours. I really don't know about my cat. I feel like she only like for her. I feel like if she sees you, then she's like, "Oh hey, where you been?" But like if she doesn't, she's kind of just sleeping, doing her own thing. And then Boo Boo, he's just doing his rabbit thing. He's just like, whatever. He don't even acknowledge that I come through the door. Only time he acknowledged me is when I'm about to like give him water and some food. So
You know what I heard somewhere? Because I agree with the dogs. Like they're usually kind of like where you be at all day. I heard time kind of passes by.
or like slower for them.
Like I think it's quicker. So like what's for us is 10 minutes, for them is like all day. Which is why you'll see my dog. I'll go outside and come back in, just go into my car, and he's like, "Hey, you're back. You're back." When I come back in the door, he's always happy to see you, no matter how long you're outside for.
I mean, but that's like with any dog. I mean, unless your dog blatantly hates you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
So-
know too many people whose dog hates them though.
We do know.
We do know one.
Your-
My dog. Yeah, he doesn't like my brother. But that's a whole nother story that we'll dive into another time.
Yeah, he's like one of the. Well, I mean, I have seen it happen before where a dog just doesn't like somebody, and you could tell too. Like, and it's sometimes it's not even just the dog. Sometimes it's the person, because the dog could be going up to the person to be nice, to try to get attention.
The person's just mean.
Yeah, and the person just doesn't pick up on that vibe, and they think that the dog just likes them just because they're a dog.
Yeah, no.
But what a lot of people forget is like some dogs are just friendly, so like they're not gonna be mean to people off the rip because they like people around them. So, but like I said, I feel like the only pet that I really wonder what Boo Boo thinks about in the day though.
Probably like, when's my bowl gonna be filled next?
Yeah, like he be, I swear, because like this is what he'll do. Like I'll feed him, and then he'll like knock it over, and then he'll like eat it, like where he sleeps at. I don't know why he does that, and then he'll just like have his body in the bowl the rest of the day, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Because what happened was he belonged to somebody else before I took him. And they were just like feeding him all day, and then I had to train him to realize like I'm only feeding you once a day and that's it. So he had to get used to that, and like for him, he's used to it, but it's like weird. It's like they want to eat all the time.
Dogs too. Dogs want to eat all day. Zion, that's my dog's name, Zion, little Maltese. He will eat. We will feed him like his food, and then he'll come over to us when we're eating our food, and sometimes we'll throw him like pieces of chicken or slices of ham or whatever the case is, and if we don't like stop feeding him, he'll keep eating until he throws it all back up.
Oh, you want to know why that is? Because a dog, you know how like for us, like if we eat, we're like, oh, I'm full, I can't eat no more. I actually found out that dogs don't get that feeling, so they don't feel full. They just
keep eating.
Yeah,
that's some shit.
They'll keep eating until they like physically throw up, and they're like, "Oh, something's wrong here." like they don't get that. It's weird because when I found that out, I was like, oh, that's the weirdest piece of information I've ever heard. But like, they don't get full like we do. Like, we'll eat a meal and we'll be like, oh, I'm full. I can't eat until another couple hours. For them, they're like, I'll keep eating until I throw up, type of thing, because they don't get that feeling, which is weird that it's different because they still have controlled meals like we do, like where we eat a certain amount of meals per day, and dogs kind of have the same thing. So you would think they would have the similar type of.
Yeah, you would think so, but dogs are interesting animals altogether, which is very, very interesting. If you have a pet at home, comment something that you think they probably think about all day. Especially you bird people. I'd love to hear what a bird owner thinks that they're.
I don't think a bird thinks about anything.
Probably doesn't.
I think the only thing a bird thinks about is like food and like maybe getting taken out the cage.
Yeah, when you gonna let me out?
Yeah, I think that's about it. And like, oh, are you gonna let me mate?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's about it. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
I'm trying to lay some eggs.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't really, just like Boo Boo, I don't think he really thinks about much other than like food and like, hey, like, you're home, alright. Like, he doesn't even acknowledge me. Well, then again, he can't.
He said he used to.
Yeah, he can't jump up like he used to. He used to, when I would come home, he used to jump up when he would see me, and then I would call him and he'd jump up. He can't do that no more. Because the last time he tried to, like, scratch his stomach or something or whatever he was doing, he literally fell over and he couldn't get back up without my assistance. So he's, like,
that fat boy life.
No, it's not even that. I think it's just old age.
Oh,
I think he just can't do.
Old man Boo Boo.
Yeah, he just can't do the things he was doing before. Because when I first had him, he used to jump real high. Now he just does, like, little hops, and that's it. That's all you'll get out of him.
Mm-hmm.
He used to like jump all the way up to the ceiling almost.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's what rabbits are known to do, but he doesn't do that anymore. He hasn't done that in like years.
Mm-hmm. He's pretty old. So.
Yeah, he's like 11 years old, so.
He's made it further than a lot of other rabbits.
Well, he's been in a house, so. Mm-hmm. He's a house rabbit, that's why.
Yeah, but don't they have like a shorter...
Well, they actually have, believe it or not, chinchillas and rabbits have pretty decent lives for the size that they are. They have about, I think, 11 to 12 years or so, sometimes 15, depending on the animal itself. So for their size, for the fact that they could live that long, it's actually pretty amazing to some people, because usually you expect that from like a dog or a cat or something like that, but they actually have longer lives than actually people expect. But if you have them like outside, that might shorten their life because they have to adjust to the different temperature changes and stuff like that, whereas if you have them in the house with you, they don't have to worry about, you know, the winter, the summer, the fall, and all that. And their fur changes when they're like outside because they have to change for the weather changes. So
interesting.
And then you know, and then you also have to put into consideration like the animals that might know that a rabbit is outside in a cage in your backyard that might want to eat it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put that into consideration. So you're putting their life at risk. So a lot of people who do have, like, I don't know about people who put chinchillas outside, but I know people who have rabbits, like, ever had one, they recommend, like, you don't have them outside in a cage like some people tend to do. If you're going to have them, you're better off as having them as, like, a house pet inside the house with you, like the way you would have a dog or a cat.
Interesting. Well, should we move on? You got anything else to add?
I don't know. You got anything else to add?
Nah. I'm shaking my head and shit like the camera's on.
All right. Our next topic is how stupid people are.
Very. The next subject? No.
Wow. It Yeah, I would say I've dealt with some pretty fair dumb people. I would say from work, from relationship. I would say relationship. I can't say relationships. Um, yeah, I've lost brain cells from that relationship.
Mm-hmm. I've lost brain cells from hearing about it.
Right.
Just the logic. It's just
Yeah, and the sad part is this is someone who went to college and got a college degree. That's what makes it sad. You know what I mean? And it was crazy to me because he cracked jokes about how I went to school and then I stopped, and then eventually I was like making the decision if I was gonna go back, and eventually I did make the decision of going back, but then he was like, oh, but you didn't finish. But I'm like, but you finished, but like you have no common sense.
Yeah.
So like you're no smarter than like someone else out on the street that like never educated themselves. Like, because I learned that a long time ago from an English teacher I had back in high school, that like it's cool to be book smart, but she's like, if you have no common sense, you're just as dumb as everybody else. Like literally you are just as dumb as everybody else, because all you really have is like a piece of paper to say that you can open up a book and like get good grades and you're college educated, and pretty much that's it.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because someone who's college educated, the whole purpose of college is so that way you can be open-minded and be willing to take in information. But the crazy part about him is you could literally look up information to prove his theory is wrong, and he still will find a way to not believe what you're saying.
Yeah, no, that's ignorant. The type of stupid people I deal with are really stupid drivers.
I think everybody deals with stupid drivers.
Yeah, but like not when driving, like not as much as somebody. Like I'm a truck driver. I don't make YouTube money yet. So
I don't make YouTube money either.
So we have right now we have personal jobs and stuff, and pushing my hand away. All right. See how it is. But
I mean, a lot of YouTubers have other jobs, and even when they're making money off of YouTube, because a lot of people know that YouTube isn't a guaranteed thing. Like you could be a hit now, and then tomorrow you could die out. So
but
a lot of people use YouTube as like an investment to make extra money, but to use it as like your bread and butter, a lot of people don't take that risk.
Yeah. But I deal with people a lot on the road. I spend sometimes 7 hours in total drive time, out on the road a day. It's ridiculous, the shit that I see on a regular basis.
I feel like that happens to anybody that drives on the road though. Like, granted, some people might see it more than others, but like I feel like if you have a license and you have a car to drive, unless you physically don't drive and you have like a chauffeur or something, even if you have a chauffeur, you would physically see the stuff that they would have to deal with driving you from place to place. So like I feel like everybody has to deal with that.
Yeah, and then now everybody's going back to work.
Yeah.
Now that the virus is not necessarily letting up, but the states are opening up. A lot more people are out on the road. Just be careful out there, y'all.
Yeah, they driving wild out there, because since I've been at work, from driving with almost like going from like 5 to 10 cars to what it is now. Granted, I'm still not in the traffic that people would normally be in based on the time I have to be at work. But the way people are driving is almost like they forgot how to drive because they were in the house all day and they had nowhere to go. And then now they're like out on the road and they're just like a hazard to everybody. And then I think the only other dumb people I deal with is like the dumb people at work. Like you hear it when I'm on the phone with you. It's just crazy. Like the one dude asking like, "Can I cash my check in the ATM?"
Oh
Like,
my god.
I can't. Like, come on, man. Like, like that's crazy. And then it's crazy because these are people who have bank accounts. Like you have to manage your money. And you're asking me if you could like cash your check in the ATM? Like no. You could deposit it, yeah. But cash it? No. Like they haven't made no ATM like that since I've known ATMs to exist. So I mean if you know of an ATM that does that, hey, kudos to you, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Drop a comment with its location so we can go look this thing up.
They probably charge you hella fees too.
Probably.
Just to do that. If that did exist. Like or like the dumbness of, oh, when did the bank change their hours? What? Like, and the crazy part is like I get asked this every day. We literally have the hours posted on the door. And it's been that way. Like you can even check it out online. Like it shows that the hours are updated to the new hours based off of the virus and everything like that. And people still ask, when did they change their hours? But mind you, this is supposed to be their regular bank that they go to. So you'd think they would be on top of that. And they're not. And then they go, oh, they did? And I'm like looking at them like, it's been like this for about 4 or 5 months now. So I'm like kind of confused how you don't know this.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be like sometimes it'd be like a regular customer that goes in and then like a decent amount of times where you should have picked up on the fact that like the bank opens on this time Monday to Friday and the bank opens this time on Saturday.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
No. Yeah. People are stupid.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line of it. More times than not. Actually, I can't say more times than not. More times than not, you come across intelligent people. But
how often do you come across an intelligent person over a stupid person? I feel like I come across a stupid person before I come across an intelligent person.
Yeah. But I don't know. Just people are stupid.
Yeah. People need to, stop asking dumb questions, because I learned a long time ago from all my years of education, there is such thing as a dumb question.
Oh yeah, plenty of them.
Because I remember when you were a kid, they said there's no such thing as a dumb question.
The only dumb question is the question you don't ask.
Yeah, and then when you get older, they're like, yes, there is a such thing as a dumb question. So like that's what people have to learn. There is a such thing as a dumb question, and you need to just realize the difference between the two.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else to add to
that's all I got on that one.
Yeah, I don't think I can talk about stupid people any longer, to be totally honest with you. Okay, so our next topic is cheating wrong?
Obviously.
Is it? Is it?
It is. It is.
Okay, wait.
But there are circumstances. There are circumstances where you can't blame the person for doing it. Right? You can't be like, well, I get why you do it, but you should in that same note, in that same breath, you also know that maybe wasn't the best answer, but you can always understand where it comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think, for me, I think, yeah, cheating is not the way to go, per se, but I also feel like if you have a reasoning behind why you might have went that route, because you have people who are in bad relationships that try to make it work, and they're doing the best they can, and the person is just like down their back making it worse than what it already is, and then then they meet that person that's like a little bit easygoing, makes the day a little bit better. And then, they end up doing a thing with the person, and then they have fun. And it's like, well, they were wrong in the aspect in the technicality because they were in a relationship, but they weren't wrong in the aspect of how they were treated. Because I feel like if you push someone to the brink of no return, of disrespect and hatred or whatever, however you want to look at it, they're gonna essentially do you wrong, whether it was right for them to do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And
And sometimes you reap what you sow. You know, some people will accuse a person of cheating and constantly accuse a person of cheating, and they're not cheating. And then one day they just go, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go and
cheat.
And cheat, since you think I'm cheating so much. And it's sad, you know. It's sad, but it happens. You know what I mean? And you can't necessarily be like, well, you know, it's still wrong and this, that, because it's like the more you push it, it's like, you know, taking a kid and telling them they can't have candy all the time. You can't have candy. You're eating candy? No, don't eat candy. So you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna fucking go and get the candy
somewhere else.
So yeah, they're gonna go and sneak the candy when you're not looking.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like with anything. If you push someone enough, you would be surprised the type of things that you could push somebody to do if you push that envelope enough. Because what people forget is someone's gonna take so much before, you know, they get to their breaking point and they say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I gotta go, or I gotta go do this, or whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Yeah, I'm gonna keep you around. Yeah.
But what a lot of people forget is like, you can't bully somebody and expect them to not get to that point.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but I feel like some people deserve to be cheated on. Some people deserve to be that person that constantly gets cheated on. I just hate to say it, but it's kind of true. There's some people who deserve to constantly be cheated on because of their behavior, of how
because
they are.
Yeah.
Because they're that person that just doesn't know how to treat their partner. So essentially, because they don't know how to treat their partner the way their partner deserves to be treated, they deserve to be that person that gets that short end of the stick and stuff like that. Now, when it's somebody that is treating you the way you deserve to be treated and then you cheat on them, that's kind of like on you.
You suck as a person.
I mean, I wouldn't say all that.
Nah. If you take a good person...
Well, no, I mean, maybe it was a mistake. Now, granted, right? The good person might not forgive you, but sometimes there are genuine mistakes that people make, and they know they made a mistake, and they own up to their mistake, and they realize it was a mistake, and they know they messed up the whole situation, and they're actually genuinely sorry for their mistake. Now, there are those people who cheat on a good person, and they're just doing it because they know they could get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Y'all should see my face right now.
No, but you get what I'm saying, though? Like,
yeah, I do.
Like, there are people... Now, granted, I'm not saying you have to forgive the person. But what I'm saying is there are people who genuinely make mistakes. And if that person that didn't deserve to be cheated on decides to forgive you, that's on them.
Yeah.
But there are also situations that I know personally from people that I'm friends with that they would just cheat on their partner just because they know they can get away with it.
Yep.
And it's not even so much because their partner isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing. So those people, I feel like, are way worse than the person that might have made the mistake and maybe messed up a relationship because they made a bad decision. Granted, it's still wrong no matter how you paint it, but they genuinely made a mistake and they knew they were wrong and they owned up to their wrong and they were genuinely sorry about it. Whereas the person that cheats on you because they know they can get away with it, they're just doing it because they know that they can do whatever they want and not have any consequence for whatever they're doing in the relationship. That's completely different.
Yeah. You got a point there. Very fair point. Very, very fair point. All in all, whether they deserve it or not, we can both agree that cheating isn't the route you should go.
Is it?
It's not. Sometimes
Is it? Cause like, cause
You know, you ever heard the term, you know, two wrongs don't make a right, but three wrongs make a but three lefts make a right, something like that,
what?
right? Two wrongs don't make a right, right? So just because they were a bad person to you doesn't necessarily mean you take that energy, right, and do something negative with it. You know, just sometimes.
Oh,
th-
okay. I love how that works, but
uh,
cause like I feel like it's different depending on the circumstance. Cause you're saying that now because we're talking about cheating, but
mhm.
I feel like if we were talking about like somebody did something wrong to your child, it would be a totally different outlook.
Yeah, it will get that right there. That's we're talking about cheating.
No, but I'm saying like, what if like, for example, like your child gets cheated on, you might have a different outlook on it than like what you're saying right now, because it's your child. At
Because
the
it's
end
your
of the day.
child. You're gonna, regardless of how you feel about it, right? Even if it's your child, like, so if my child gets cheated on, I'm a, you know, my if I have a daughter, right, I'm a want to go and beat do ass that cheated on my baby girl, who made my baby girl cry. But that's
What about
because
your son? You just gonna let him fight?
that's you gotta fight the girlfriend. Like the mom gotta fight the girlfriend. I'm not gonna fight the girlfriend.
No, I mean, like, I'm talking about the dude that she hooked up with, not the.
See, it's different, right, with sons, because with your son, you teach him buck up, son. You know what I mean? Just you know what I mean? There's other women out there for you. It's different when you're a father of a little girl. I mean, granted, by then she's not a little girl anymore, but you know what I mean. It's still in your heart. She's always gonna be your little girl. Whereas your son, you teach him to be a man and be strong and stand on his own. But you always teach your little girl to, while still stand on her own, dad's got you. Right? And your son's always
No,
gonna
I
know
gotta
that.
be dad got you. What,
But this
like,
I'm talking
like,
from a father's perspective.
like the
Right?
mother didn't hold it for 9 months.
Well, no, of course she's gonna know that mom's got you. But as a father, you know what I mean. You know, he's gonna, while he's teaching her, bless you,
Thank you.
while he's teaching her, and the mother's teaching her, like, yo, like, you can be a grown woman, stand on your own 2 feet, but we're always here if you need us. A son is like, it's a tougher type of love. You know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
I feel like you could do that with a son. I just feel like people don't do that with a son, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's why men are the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because they feel like they have to be all extra tough and like extra mannish because people don't treat them like they have emotion. They're like, oh, nah, you gotta be tough
Yeah.
because you can't show emotion. And then that's when you get into the, is it okay for you to cry and be sad about stuff? Because I feel like if you don't coddle them, it's fine. But I feel like if they need to show emotion that they feel, it's perfectly fine. And it shouldn't be different just because he's a boy over a girl. And that's where a lot of people blur that line because they're like, oh, well, he's a boy, so you can't, let him be sad or whatever the case is. He has to be tough and he has to thug it out. Like, I don't think that mindset should be pushed on a boy just because he is a boy. I feel like you should teach him that he has to accept certain things, but I also feel like you shouldn't make him feel like he can't show emotion if he wants to show emotion.
What I learned growing up as a young man who,
Take my arm rest over here.
my dad, wasn't always there. He had his moments where he was, but I can be honest, and he wasn't always there. And I had, my stepfather wasn't really that, the proper role model. I had to learn kind of how to be a man through watching my mother. As crazy as that sounds, right? Through watching my mother, and then I really learned what it was like to be a man from my friends that I made that were older than me, that they kind of just showed me. They laid the groundwork and be like, this is how you take care of your family, right? And never, not once did my mother ever tell me that, you know, emotion was weak. Because you see that a lot. Dudes teach their sons, you can't show weakness. You can't show, you know, you can't fold under pressure. And, you know, at the end of the day, we're all human.
Yeah, and then you make people like Psycho.
Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, we're all human. I cry. I haven't cried in a long time, but, you know.
But I think every man has cried. It's just how often would a man admit it? Probably not that often. But I feel like every man has a moment in his life where he cried at least once.
Times you just gotta. It's probably been. How long has it been since I came back to Jersey? A year and some change. Probably right before I made that drive back to Jersey, I probably cried. And that was just one of those stress cries, you know what I mean? Just the whole weight of everything that was going on in my life at the time, and it's just, I was sitting in my car and I was just like,
Well, you gotta demonstrate too. Oh my God. It sound like you laughing over here. Why you taking my arm wrestling?
Cause I got nowhere to put my arm. Anyway, you know, be strong.
Yeah, I mean,
Be there for your fellow man.
I feel like either way, I feel like you should be there for the person, whether they're a male or a female. And if they want to show emotion, it shouldn't matter if they're a guy or a girl. That's just up to them on what emotion they choose to show.
Yeah, we're human.
Yeah, and if you can't accept someone showing emotion to you, then you shouldn't even.
And that's the thing. Humans are emotion based creatures.
I was about to say, where is this sentence going?
You know what I mean? Like other animals, even like primates, like they act on logic, but humans act on emotion. So when a man does something emotional, you have to take that as his primal instinct. Like, I'm sad, I'm gonna cry. You know, or I'm hurt. You know what I mean? And or anything. We can't just be rage pride. You know what I mean? All the time. You can't just see our anger and you can't just see our pride all the time.
No. But, I mean, is there anything else you want to...
Nah, I think I pretty much, you know, we talked about cheating and all the way winning all the way about manhood.
Yeah,
but
we went on a whole another topic.
But that's what these things are about. We just be talking. You know what
I mean, we kind of like added it into the topic and tried to explain how we were correlating it with the topic. But
yeah.
Our next topic is, who is a better driver, a man or a woman?
Neither, honestly. Both suck.
Excuse me. I feel like it depends on the person. I've heard so many times where dudes just, because they feel like they're a guy, they're a better driver. But then if you look up statistics, they say men are more prone to an accident than a female because a female is more precautious when she drives. Now, this is just based off a statistic. And I had a whole class where we were talking about it, where a man is more prone to speed and cause an accident.
Of course, I agree.
And all that. And it was funny because we had a whole debate about it. And the guys in the class were like, yeah, well, women drive like this and we want to get where we're going, so we're just going to speed race down the road. And then the professor was like, wait, but like, we're talking about who's a better driver, so you're pretty much saying you're going to put like 50 to 100 people at risk so you could get where you're going.
Yeah.
Whereas you're
proving the point of the class.
Yeah, like, because we were trying to prove who was like a better driver, and you know, we were pulling up the points of how females drive a little bit more precautiously because of the risk of being on the road, and we were basing it off a statistic. And they were pretty much proving the statistic to be right about how men are just more careless and reckless, and this is hence why, if you look at it when you're a young male, look at how much you're paying insurance when you have a car compared to compared to a female.
Statistics,
Because a female, yes, she might be paying a lot as a young female for insurance, but a male will be paying more because of the high accident rate on the male side, on the young side, compared to a female. Now, granted, they're still going to dock you because you're young, but a female will get they'll be a little bit more lenient with her because females are just less known to get into accidents.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been proven fact. Now, granted, there are bad female drivers, just like there's bad male drivers. But I've always found it interesting how dudes just say, oh, guys are just better drivers just cause. Like, I just always found that interesting how that became like a...
Yeah, I honestly, I think both sides suck.
Excuse me?
I'm just saying. As a someone who makes a living off of being on the road, I've seen my fair share of both demonstrating terrible driving skills.
I feel like I'm an amazing driver.
You are. You are a really good driver, right? But I've also seen where there's women out there that don't even fucking look at their mirrors. You know what I mean? And they're just switching lanes. Like, bitch, you don't see me?
I mean, but I've seen guys do that too. Like, in the time that I've had to drive to work, because there's more cars on the road, I've seen more people just merge on the highway, and they're just looking straight forward,
not looking in the mirrors.
And then I'm looking across to see where they're at, as far as like if they're in my blind spot of my car, or if I have to slow down, and I'm like waiting to look to see if they're gonna notice that I'm looking at them while I'm already at highway speed. And they're driving at the same speed as I am, and I'm like, wait, you're in the merge lane. What are we doing here? And I have to slow down because it's either that or have an accident because you don't know how to merge on the highway. And it kills me to see that there's people who do that all the time on the male side and the female side. And, like, it's crazy how this even became a thing of, like, trying to predict who's a better driver. I really think it's based on the person.
Yeah, it's a person-to-person basis. I know some women who are really good drivers. I know some who are god-awful drivers. I know men that are really good drivers. I know men that are reckless drivers. And I know men that are just bad drivers.
Yeah. Like, I remember when someone was like, Psycho was amazed at how great I could parallel park. And I'm like, excuse me?
I honestly, from my personal experience, you're probably one of the only women that I know personally that can parallel park.
No, but I'm saying, like, to categorize me just because I was a female, that's where I was insulted at. Forget about, because there's a lot of people I know who can't parallel park.
Mm-hmm.
Who have to think about it, male or female.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I already, like, had learned a skill on how to do it, and I just kind of, like, it just kind of stuck once I was, like, learning how to drive. But, I mean, I don't have to parallel park all the time, but the few times that I had to, other than my driving test, like, it's not that hard. Like,
no.
It's really not. It's like, for me, it was like one of the easiest things I feel like I had to learn how to do while driving. Whereas other people, they make it seem way more complicated than it is. And it's crazy to me. Like, I've seen Joe, like, my stepdad, like, he can parallel park. But, like, he has to, like, think about it mad hard, and, like, it's like a math equation for him almost, and we're just like, all right, like, it's not that deep, like. But, like, for other people, it's just like, they're like, all right, I gotta do this, I gotta turn the wheel like this, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And that's kind of like how it was for me. Once I kind of, like, got the gist of how to do it, and I was like told how to turn the wheel and which way to turn the wheel, when to do it and all this and that. I kind of just stuck with that, and then I just kind of just say it in my head and then kind of just do it without thinking about it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I get you.
And you parallel park?
Yeah, what? Yo, I used to my ex, right? Her mom.
You were like, what?
My ex, her mom had a Honda Pilot, you know, the big shit. And she would come over here, and she would have to park between me and like Mark, or me and whoever, right? And she would call me when she got here because she could not parallel park that shit. I would have to parallel park.
And which ex was it?
The last one.
Oh.
Yeah. Or sometimes even with her car, she had a Honda.
Like a small Honda?
It was a Civic.
Yeah, it's a small Honda. That's super easy to parallel
yeah,
park.
and I would have to parallel park. She could parallel park, but there was times where she was just like, I can't do this.
And she'd call you out and be like, hey, come
yeah, can you come park this for me? Like, sure, yeah, I got you. My mom can parallel park, some kind of.
You said she be having her moments.
She be having her moments.
I mean, everybody has their moments where they're just like, all right, I can't do this today. I need someone else to do this. And I can definitely vouch for that.
Yeah, my mom doesn't like doing tight backs. Like you saw the one day we pulled up, and she had her husband backing the car up into this driveway.
Yeah, Jerome.
Yeah.
But over here calling her husband like he not stepped. You know?
Whatever.
I mean, she probably was like, nah, let him do it.
Yeah. I'm not backing this up in there.
I mean, but that's kind of like, it was kind of a tricky backup, though.
Yeah, because, you know, my brother's car is back in there. And then his car is in front of my brother's car at an angle. So it's kind of tough to get the car when you're backing in. Because you could probably pull through fine. Because you could see everything you're doing.
Yeah. That's probably what I would do. I'd probably just, like, pull in straight. And then
She doesn't like backing out of the driveway.
I'd rather just do that. Because either way, and I've had this conversation so many times with people. I used to hate, especially, like, when I used to have to go to, like, Essex County, right? Where people would, like, be in front of you, and then instead of just pulling into the parking space, going straight in, they want to, like, hold up traffic, knowing there's, like, who knows how many cars, and they want to back into the parking space. You have to do the same amount of thought process to go straight in and back out later, just like when you back in the first place. So it doesn't really matter which way you do it first. Like, you're still going to have to back up at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, like, if you want to back into a parking space, it's fine. But, like, if you know there's, like, other cars behind you, you're kind of just hindering other cars from parking.
I think for her, it's more of when she's leaving in the morning. Because there's other cars and stuff. She wants to be able to see them better when she's pulling out in the morning instead of just backing up. Because, you know, we have our neighbor's truck that sits right there. So it kind of blocks your view if you're backing up. And then sometimes, you know, my brother's car, will be right there. And it might block her view a little bit. I don't know. She's never liked, even when she had the Volvo, she didn't like backing out of the driveway, only backing in.
It's the same amount of work either way.
Yeah, it's the same amount of work. I think it's just about the seeing.
Yeah, but if you still have to use your mirrors either way. So, I mean, I'm confused.
I think it's seeing oncoming traffic going out.
Just turn your head.
Mm-hmm.
Just turn your head. It's not that hard. It's not like we live in a busy road where it's like, you know, because there are those people who live like on those busy roads where it's like car after car, and you know, you have, by the time you get to back out your car, you're probably waiting like 10-20 minutes. I couldn't have a house like that. But.
Like those houses on friggin' Roosevelt.
Oh yeah,
people flying up and down Roosevelt all day, and then you'll occasionally see a guy like swing out from a driveway on the Roosevelt.
Yeah, I couldn't live like that.
Mm-hmm.
But is there anything else you want to add to that?
I think we're good.
All right. The size count.
The size of the boat don't matter. It's the motion of the ocean, baby. I think it does count to a certain extent.
I feel like that's not like a go-to on if you're gonna have a good time, because a lot of dudes think, oh, I'm this size. Well, then you also have those dudes that think they're a certain size, but they're not. You know, I'm not gonna say no names. You know, claiming they're 7.5, but you know, had a toy that was 7.5, and it just did not measure up. But I'm not gonna say no names. You know who you are. No offense to you. I hope you figure that out, how a ruler works. But when you do, it might be too late. But all right.
It's definitely too late. It's definitely too late, dog. Don't call her. Do not call her.
I will not answer, so we don't have to worry about that. I feel like you can't have like a micro phallus, but you don't have to be like the biggest dude in the world either to satisfy a chick.
Yeah.
There's just, because if you know how to hit her spot, whether you're like the biggest dude or not, you're gonna be able to satisfy her. It's really based on if you're hitting that spot. But like if you have nothing to work with, like, your dick is like the size of a pinky. I mean, like there's like no thickness to. I mean, like my type of pinky, like.
I mean, there's not much difference between our pinkies.
I have a skinny pinky.
You do.
I have a skinny pinky. So imagine a dick like this, trying to satisfy a chick.
Jesus.
You over here using your pinky. You got like a fat pinky and shit. Like,
you gotta have something to work with for the ladies. And even if you don't, right? You gotta be able to make up for it in other ways. Get the helicopter tongue. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta do something. Like I have a friend who makes constant jokes, right? Because he's part Asian, so he constantly makes the cliche Asian little dick jokes about himself all the time. But he says my wife. He always says my wife didn't stay with me from a dick. She stayed with me from a tongue. Because he said when you're not working with what you're supposed to be working with, you gotta make up for it in other ways.
Yeah, but the crazy part is a lot of dudes that can't make up for their, what they don't have between their legs. A lot of them don't.
Hey, and tiny dick fellas, I understand. We understand it's not your fault. You were born like that. We get it. But you have to. But
there's different types of tiny dicks. There's like dicks that are like average size, that are like they got no meat to them. So at least if your dick has like some type of meat, even if it's not like, like 7 inches or 7.5 or 8 or whatever the case is, or 9, if you at least have some type of thickness, you got something to, thrust with and work with. Whereas if you got like a skinny, bony dick and it's like, small as hell, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what are you working with a pencil?
What's up, needle dick? Remember that from The Water Boy?
Oh.
That's what I think of when you keep saying it.
No, but I'm saying, like, you get what I mean? Like,
yeah, like,
you gotta have, like, even if you don't have the biggest size, I feel like you should have some thickness to it where, like, if she grips it, she can, like, feel it in her hand and be like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, but some guys, I feel bad because, like, we're downplaying some of these dudes, and it's like, it's not, they're born with that. Like, they born with it.
Well, not necessarily, because it's not like when you're born, you're going to have the dick size you're going to have. like when you're like 20.
Yeah, I know that, but like
You're like, oh, you're born.
But like they don't have control over.
No. I get that, but you have to put into consideration you can't be mad if you're not putting in that effort either.
Yeah, in other ways. That's why I said you gotta.
I also believe though, like they, a lot of people don't believe this. Usually, a dude that has less to work with, and he knows he has less to work with. A lot of those dudes work harder in the bedroom than the dude that got the bigger dick. Believe it or not. So,
yeah, they gotta make up for it. And I've heard stories that these dudes with these mandingo meats out here, they be lazy as hell, be chilling, thinking that they size is going bless you. They size is going to do it for them. Bless you.
I'm allergic to you.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the fact that we talking about penis sizes. It could be that because you ain't sneezed this whole time.
My allergies kicking in.
Yeah. Oh. So it's silly.
But yeah, I mean, it varies from person to person, and I don't think you should base it on necessarily size, but you also have to be realistic too, because there are some sizes out there that realistically, I get it, you shouldn't base it on size, but there's just some sizes that it's like, all right, what can I really do with this?
Yeah, and I honestly feel like no matter what size you are, you should always be putting your best foot forward in the bedroom. You know what I mean?
True.
Doesn't matter if you walking around with a foot long or if you walking around with 4. You know what I mean? You gotta put that work in. You gotta make her be like, all right. You know what I mean? I'll come back for that. It may not be what I wanted, but I'll come back for that.
You'll essentially make it what she wants because she'll come back for it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it's not something worth coming back to, why would she come back to it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Gotta make it worth her while. And ladies, you too.
Yeah, you can't be like a
you
dead
can't
fish.
just lay there. Yeah, you can't
be
just
like
lay
a
there.
dead fish.
Just with your arms up and your legs up, like, all right, I'm here.
There's a lot of chicks that do that.
I know.
There's a lot of chicks that do that, and then they be like, "Oh, it wasn't fun."
It wasn't fun. Yeah, well, fuck you. All that work I was doing. Oh my god! All right, she's fighting me over the armrest, yo.
But is there anything else you want to add to that?
No.
No, I think I'm good on that too. I think the next thing we got is trivia. We actually have trivia today.
This week, yeah.
As soon as he gets it pulled up.
This is I went and looked up interesting facts, right? If I can find my notepad, yeah.
By the time you find it, I'm gonna be 100.
So I 5 topics, right? Not really in regards to what we talked about today, but I found them interesting. All right. So my first question for you is: who was the first female coach in the NFL? This is very.
There was a female coach.
There's actually a couple of them now. What? Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a female coach ever.
There's female
Joe,
coaches.
You didn't even drink your drink, by the way.
I know. I was sitting here looking at it the whole time. I was.
You want some?
Yeah.
Over
it's
here,
a little
gotta
warm.
sweat it. It's all sweated out.
Thank you. Oh, that was good.
I'm surprised you didn't drink it when you got it.
Yeah, it's because we were sipping on that. But do you have her name is Jen Welter, and she's the coach of she's a coach for the Arizona Cardinals. So I forget what it was. I can pull up the fact. I believe she's offense or defensive coordinator. Yeah, she's defensive specialist right now. She was a coaching intern for the Arizona Cardinals. That's what she was.
Okay,
She
next
was
fact.
okay. Next fact.
We start on that one.
Okay, when was the Declaration of Independence signed?
1774.
You were close, actually. A couple years off.
Damn, what was it?
It's August 2nd, 1776.
Damn it! No, because I used to be really good at history. Damn it! Thought I had that.
Oh, by the way, while I'm answering and asking these questions, you guys in the comments that are listening, just throw the answer in. Don't cheat. All right? Just when you hear the question, comment and answer.
Yeah, before we actually give the answer out.
Yeah.
I was so close.
What was the first movie that Will Smith was in?
First movie.
Yeah. I didn't even know this one when I looked it up. I thought I knew.
I don't know.
I thought it was Bad Boys.
No, I don't know.
Nah, it was called 6 Degrees of Separation in 1993. Never seen that movie ever. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna have to find it somewhere.
I don't know. Yeah,
This is pretty interesting. What was the first rap song ever recorded?
First rap song? I don't know. I don't even know.
She's in like, it's like I don't know none of this shit.
Wait. The Declaration of Independence. I was close.
You were close. The first rap song ever recorded was called "Rapper's Delight" by the Sugar Hill Gang.
Oh,
in 1973.
I know that song.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I actually know that song too.
And who was the first pope? This is the last one.
First pope, damn.
I figured you might have known this one.
I know, because they have like John Paul, and then they had John Paul II.
Before them.
I don't know. Because I think by the time I even knew about the Pope, I was like by John Paul.
His name was Saint Peter.
Yeah, I don't think they. I didn't learn about him, or maybe I did. I don't know.
Yeah, it was Saint Peter. I'll get you the year. He was 29.
That's really young.
He was actually born Jewish.
I thought you said you were going to say the year.
It doesn't say the year. That's weird. And then the very next one after him was Saint Linus.
Alright, well.
I don't know who Saint Linus is. I've never heard of any of these popes.
Alright, let's move on to.
Alright, that's it.
That's it?
That's all 5.
Alright. That's all we got.
Yeah, so leave a like, sub, please.
Comment.
There's a bunch of y'all. We had near 70 views on the last one.
Close to it, yeah. We're sorry we missed a week.
I was injured.
Injured, yeah, alright. But we're making up for it this week. So, you're going to get a double whammy this week to make up for the fact that we missed a week.
Yep, we'll be doing one post Saturday night, and then we'll do a follow-up on
Sunday.
It should be fun.
Alright, right? That's it, right?
That's it. You guys, thank you for listening in, and we'll see you in the next one.
Alright. See you next time.